Welcome back to another episode of Tax Talk Live. We are live. It is 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I just want to thank each and every one of you all for showing up this morning, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is. Thank you all. And do me a quick favor. Just go ahead and tap in. Let us know what country you may be in, or what city you may be in, or what state you may be in if you're in the U.S. Just go ahead and type that in the comment section. We're going to have something very interesting for you all, and hopefully the information touches the exact location that you are coming from, tuning in with us live today. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump into this episode. We have Mr. Corey Goins that's back here with us again for another episode of Tax Talk Live. And, just want to welcome you back to the platform. My brother Corey, man, how you doing, brother? You looking well?
Doing
How's
good, man.
everything going with you, King?
I'm doing well, man. I had to stretch out, man. I had to get ready because we're getting ready to get in the game, coach. So pull me off the sideline. I'm ready to go. We're well rested, well traveled. We're ready back, and we hitting it again, man. So I just want to say, Brieon, man, proud of you, brother, as well as our confidants and our respective people that help us get through this, make Text Talk happen. And I want to continue the most high praise for y'all and for us, and to make it even more productive as we move forward and making it happen, brother. So I'm happy to be here. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, and welcome everybody again. Like Corey said, we've gotten back from the travels. We're well rested, and we're full of energy. We're ready to give y'all this information we've been cooking up. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to pivot a little bit, and we're going to be talking about those businesses that have a high failure rate. And so we want to be sharing with you all this morning some of the areas to look out for when you're just, thinking about what sector or what industry you're looking at branching into. Because a couple of questions I received, and one of those questions was, why do 90% of businesses fail? And that was a question I received via DM. And I was thinking to myself, 90% is really, really high. And so I was like, is that even true, that 90% of businesses fail? So tune in. You all are about to find out as we look into the millions and millions of businesses that are launched each and every year, not just in the United States, but across the globe. And we'll find out, why do only a portion of them survive? Why do so many businesses fail each year in some of those areas? So Corey, you ready to jump into it?
Yes, sir. And I found it, like you said, I found that percentage is really, really high, and it's hard to believe that is a I think that we don't really know where it sits, but it sits around it. I think it's pretty much of a guesstimation of that, but statistically it makes sense. How many people do you even know that even own businesses? I put that in accountability when in the account when we're talking about, you say 90%. I'm like, it makes sense, because I don't even know not 90 people that even own businesses. I don't even know 100 people that own businesses. I probably count on one hand. And then you go into the statistic of saying, when people say they're in business, are they legal? Do they have EINs? Do they have they legalized themselves as business owners? All I know is, in my community, is about a lot of people that they say I own businesses, but it's still a side hustle. It's not a legitimate business. So, to each his own. Everybody has to, eat how they eat, and has to continue, to just fortify business the way they should. But I think, if you're not legal, you're not a business. you know?
Exactly. You're not a business that's able to take advantage of all the tax benefits and incentives. So let's kick it off with this fun fact, with just a few fun facts. Let's uncover just how many businesses are started each and every year in the U.S. So according to the SBA, the Small Business Administration, at the end of 2021, so at the end of the year 2021, there were over 32 million small businesses within the United States. And so the SBA considers small firms with fewer than 500 employees. So small businesses make up 99.9% of all U.S. businesses and are a powerful driver of the economy and employment. So just kicking that off, we have a fun fact about 32 million businesses across the U.S. at the end of 2021. And so that's interesting in itself. And so when we look at new businesses, the SBA says that every year, more than 600,000 new businesses are started. So just looking at that so far, we have 32 million businesses with 600,000 new businesses started each and every single year. So that kind of puts things into perspective. And so not quite 90% of businesses fail. Not quite. So let us kind of explain and put some things into perspective. And before we do that, Corey, you brought up a very valid point. And see what the SBA is counting is they're counting businesses that are actually registered through the Secretary of States in those respective states. They're counting businesses that actually have on record, on file, an EIN, which is an employer identification number that you receive from the IRS or the Internal Revenue Service. So as you said, many side hustles or many businesses that may not be legally or properly set up, those are not even counted in that number. So quite naturally, there are a number of people that are operating as a business, but outside of the framework, the legal framework of an actual business. So just wanted to put that out there as well. There are a lot of interesting information, but what I'll jump into real quick is 23.2% of businesses in the U.S. fail within the first year.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, and you think about this, Brieon, just to kind of tap in with you really quickly. I mean, I've read about 5 or 6 different articles, and they all kind of said different statistics. So my question is, and you went to the SBA, which is definitely a credible place, but I don't know. I kind of split it into 3 stages, Brieon. When you talk about people when they consider themselves business owners, and I think, and this is something that I thought in my head. It was like you have this premature notion of a business owner, and you have the intra business owner, and you have the post. Post. When I say post, it's mean like the person that actually fills out, a person like yourself that all have went through all the red tape and went through the troubles of doing the EIN. And registering their business and things like this. There's 3 stages of that. And you have to think about psychologically. I think that premature business owner, I call that a person that has the idea but hasn't quite executed everything, but they have the notion and they have the gumption to try to get up and get out there and do what they want to do to become business owners. I think that needs to be included as well, because that right there gives people hope to become the next stage. Would be an intra person that actually has already stepped out there, has already maybe registered, but still hasn't found the momentum to the credibility of and have put the numbers up to become legitimately a quote unquote business. Then you have that post with a person like yourself who's already been through the red tape. You know what I'm saying? But I think all those to count, and I think that as a business as the look at our government, especially in the U.S., need to look into teaching those type of abilities in school. We don't teach business in school or how to become business owners, but yet this is the country where it resides on business. Like that's how the country is made. You get tax break on being business owners, but yet we don't fortify enough opportunities for people to become business owners. And I guess another thought will be a lot of people don't even believe when they see staggering percentages like what you mentioned and what we mentioned already. It doesn't matter what percentage is. If it's above 20%, it's already a risk. And then you got people that want to raise a family. We got to raise our families. We got to raise kids. We got to have we have our husbands and our wives, and we got friends, and we got all these different things that happen around us. When do we have time to operate as business owners the way we should? And we have to find our way somehow. We have to find our way and balance our own lives to create an opportunity for us to become legitimate business owners.
Yeah, and you bring up a valid point too, because I know a lot of individuals, including myself, quite naturally made that transition, while working a 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
decided to transition from 5 to 9 to become that business owner, to start that side hustle, to pursue that passion in a business. And so I think that's very important that, we do highlight that there are stages to get started. But the main thing you highlighted, I really like, is that execution, execution, execution. Regardless of what stage the individual is at, they've got to keep persevering. They got to keep executing until they get to the end. Because as we just said, you'll see a number of things vary, but in general, you're going to be looking at roughly 1 in 4 businesses, approximately 1 in 4 businesses in the private sector within the US will fail within the first year. And so after that, it's not over yet if you make it out of the first year, because after 5 years, then the SBA says that around 48% of businesses fail. And then after 10 years, then there's about 65% of businesses that fail. And so you want to be very aware of business failure rates. You want to make sure you do those small, intangible things to make sure you avoid these high, failure businesses or high failure industries. And so one of the things I really like about this article from Investopedia, they put out an article early April, and it really talked about 6 reasons. They locked in on 6 things. And I know a lot of people always say businesses fail for the lack of money or the lack of capital. But I'd say one thing I'll pull out of that article is that businesses fail for the lack of investigating the market. And so, as a business owner, maybe you're thinking about starting that real estate firm, that real estate company. Well, you might want to investigate the market to understand what cycle that we are in with real estate. Is it an up cycle? Is it a down cycle? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? And you want to also understand the types of real estate that you want to go in and target, because it may be very difficult if you're already in a saturated market, but you didn't investigate the market to find that out, that it's a saturated market. And also, that makes it more difficult to break in when you're already in a saturated market. So, this is a mistake by not investigating that can result in failure from the start. So, you're already setting yourself up if you don't look at those key, and when I say key, I'm talking very, very important market analysis before starting your business. What you think, Corey?
You made a really good point, and I'm going to tap into another article about entrepreneur. Let's look at the definition of failure. I think that's a key. What do we define as failure? And the study it relies on fixed numbers of reported businesses. If a business is no longer exists a year later, it is counted as a failure. But there may be entirely valid reasons for business no longer existing. And then the owner may be interested in retiring, or for example, and chooses to close a business rather than try to sell it or transition to ownership. And it's hardly fair to account this as a failure of a business. And then I think we fail to see, like, I think when people go into business, they don't see themselves as being like a small business first. You got to be a small business first, and then you gradually get into a bigger business. I think the goal and the outreach is a little bit too much. I think sometimes that might be the case in some people's cases when you're looking at that type of thing. But I hope that answers your question. But I was just tapping into the definition of failure, man, because I think we there's many definitions, and then depending on what you're talking about, failure can be defined in many different ways.
No, that's really good, and I'm glad you really tapped into identifying failure, because it lets everyone out there understand what we're actually talking about, and so they can be aligned with us. Now, I do want to just kind of flip things around a little bit, because you may have a business that is established and is successful, and
Mhm.
expanding too fast,
Right.
growing too fast can also, you know, cause your business to fail if you're not able to manage that growth, if you're not ready for that growth, if that growth outpaces your systems, your personnel, your processes, then that growth can also outpace your capital. And so there's a lot of things you always want to make sure when you're expanding fast, because that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. Growth and expansion is good and positive. However, it can also cause your business to fail. And so when we look at some of the things, you have to treat your expansion like you're starting over again. You have to assess it. You have to do the necessary analysis, market analysis, feasibility studies to understand the areas that you're going into, understanding the competition, understanding the market, the demographics, and just understanding all of these little things about business. Because when you expand a business too fast and you don't take the same care with your research
Right.
strategy, with the planning, the financial drain of the failing business can sink the whole ship. So you have to take that same level of care in research, in planning, in marketing, to make sure you prop your business up for success, to avoid the whole enterprise or the whole ship from sinking. And I know that sounds a little bit odd, because growth is such, a very positive thing. But again, it's all in, are you able to manage the growth? And so just wanted to throw that information out there, and talk about it. And, when we look at the US, we're looking at a very developed economy. And so also, we want to look at, not just the US, but also, we want to look at, across the globe, and be able to understand, what are some of the other areas, what are some of the other countries that are having business failures as well. So when we look at a country like Canada, and we look at small, medium enterprises, on average, 35.1% of SMEs, small, medium enterprises in Canada, survive at least 16 years. That's a little bit different. So 35.1 of small to medium enterprises in Canada survive at least 16 years. And
Mm.
so when we look at that, that's very interesting in comparison to the US. Now, let's shift and look at some of the things that happen over in the UK. Because over in the UK, the United Kingdom, businesses have a 1 year survival rate of 88.3%. So again, just putting things into perspective, businesses in the United Kingdom or the UK have a 1 year survival rate of 88.3%. And so it's very interesting as we, look at how things happening across the world. Now, let's look at Africa, because when we look at Africa, we look at 80% of businesses in Africa fail within their first 5 years of existence. And so that's very high. That's very, very high. So that means a mere 20% to only 20% of African businesses survive within their first 5 years of existence.
Mm. That's that's and that's a good point you made there, Brieon. I think that I was writing down as you were talking. I was like, infrastructure of countries and how they back their people. I think that
Yeah.
adds a lot into it, because as we both live abroad, and we see in the country we live that there are some countries that really set their people up for success, and there's really no there's a safety net even for business owners that live overseas, like overseas, for instance, Saudi Arabia. I
Yeah.
think, and I don't know your opinion, but Saudi Arabia has just amazing infrastructure and a foundation for the business owners. That's why there's so many business owners here, and the fact that every time you walk into a store, yeah, you might see made in China, you might see it, but it's all ran by the Arabs. It's all ran by the locals. You know, the people that are in the in the country. And you know, you look at business in the states. I don't know everything about business in the states, but I do just know this. I don't. If everybody has this word stuck in their head when they going into it, and it's called fear. You should not fear if a country. I feel like this, in my opinion, that you should not have to fear being a business owner if the country is built by business. Why do we
Yeah.
fear if the country is built by business? That's a whole different conversation. But you should not have to fear going out to do what your country is made from. So, you know, in Saudi Arabia, for instance, the business owners, there's so many business owners here, and they start at a young age, and
Yeah.
it's generational wealth, and it's passed down from generation to generation, generation to generation. So that fears is not so great, you know. And you look at it in this just a small thing of the driving in Saudi Arabia, they just don't fear anything.
Yeah.
They're go getters. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just want to add that little point in there, just to kind of, you know, add to that, because different countries have different things based on cultural influence, and that is why most countries have a higher and lower rate of failure when it comes to business and in its function of business startups.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, great point. And I'll jump into that point. Let me go ahead and hit our friends down in Australia. So 60% of new businesses in Australia failed within their first 3 years. So just wanted to, just kind of touch on a few countries to try to give some perspective. We have 29% of businesses in South Korea that survive over 5 years, and then Greece. Greece has the highest 1 year business survival rate in Europe at 96.7%. So just kind of touching, here and there to give a flavor. And to your point, I really look at, Saudi Arabia. I look at, the United Arab Emirates and the way they set up businesses and the way they set up, generational wealth. And like you said, they start at an early age teaching these things. They start at an early age, whereas you may be, a part of the family owned business, but you're sweeping the floors till you learn, sales and until you learn marketing. And they do a lot of, rotating. Rotating means they put you in all the different functions so you'll be able to learn all of those different functions. And when it comes to generational wealth, what I really admire is, for example, if they set up a hotel business, then they're going to set up 4 or 5 different sub businesses. And so let me give you one example. So if they set up a hotel, they're going to have one company that does the human resources and the staffing. They're going to have another company that comes in and does the cleaning. They're going to have another company that comes in and provides the furnishing and the beds and paintings. They're going to have another company that does outside window cleaning. They're going to have another company that does food and catering. So they're going to have all of those sub companies by relatives. And so they're keeping all of that money within the family and being able to create the generational wealth. So I really admire that about Saudi Arabia, about Bahrain, about Qatar, about the UAE, about Kuwait and the GCC in general, how they, structure companies and they look out for their own. So that's definitely something we can learn from, and be able to take that as a takeaway in the way that other areas do business. So very, very important stuff that, we wanted to just kind of shed some light, hit that sweet spot, just to give you all some perspective. What do you think, Corey, when it comes to industries? Because quite naturally, there are a lot of different businesses out there. There are a lot of different industries out there. And I know it's a lot of information. People can become overwhelmed with information. People can also become, not just overwhelmed with information, but not going and receiving credible sources. And so I do understand that sometimes there are industries that we want to make sure we avoid as well. So let me just tap into a couple of them. So the transportation, transportation in warehousing industry has the highest percentage of businesses that failed in the first year at 24.8%. And so this includes, air, rail, which is our, railroads, water, trucking, pipeline transportation, among others. And so just understanding that transportation and warehousing have the highest 1 year failure rates in the United States. I mean, you also have administrative and waste services that have 23.3% failure rate as well. Finance and insurance has a 22.6% 1 year failure rate. And also you have things like arts, uh, entertainment, and recreation at 17.1% failure rate after year one. So just wanted to again give you all some information, give you something to think about, give you something to research, give you something to take a look at before you get started with your business. And if you're already in these industries, we hope that you're doing well, and we hope that you continue to look out for ways to de-risk your business, removing the risk that could cause your business to fail. And we all know capital, 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 and the planning of capital, the proper planning of resources and budgeting is typically one of those top three reasons why a lot of businesses fail. Now that we are in, the internet, we're in the days of the internet. Brick and mortar businesses sometimes struggle. Also failing to market and advertise, utilizing social media channels. Make sure you're doing all of those things to help your business stay healthy. So we're gonna just kind of pivot real quick to look at some questions or some comments. I do want to get you all to just kind of tap in real quick. If you're just joining us, where in the world today, what country, what city you may be in. If you're in the U.S., what state you may be in, just go ahead and drop us a comment. I'd like to share some very specific information with you all. And we also have something special in store for you. So you want to go ahead and drop that in the comments real quick so that we can see where you are. Um, I think we had some difficulties with Corey, but I think we can bring him back at this time while we're waiting for some questions to kind of queue up, um, so that we can see where folks may be at, and also what questions they may have. Can we bring Corey back up? All right, Corey.
My apologies. My apologies. My Wi-Fi is going. You know how it is. Wi-Fi
Yeah.
went up and down. I'm sorry about that. But I want to add to what you were saying earlier. We are talking about statistics on Saudi Arabia. I want to bring just a little bit of that before you bring us questions.
Go
16%.
ahead.
16% failed. It says these two previous Saudi state contradict what was recently stated by a senior official of the National Institute of Entrepreneurship in Riyadh in July 2021, indicating that 84% of Saudi entrepreneurs succeeded in their commercial projects, while only 16% failed. So that means that's saying Saudi knows something about business, and that's part of the reason why they're one of the richest countries in the world. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there to say that,
Yeah.
compared to U.S. statistics, they're looking for the people to succeed versus the U.S. contradictory. We don't know. Of course, they want people to succeed too, but at what cost do they have to give their left leg and their right arm for to succeed in business? Let's go. It's just a food for
Very,
thought for
very
everybody.
impressive. Yeah, very impressive. 16%. That's very
Mm-hmm.
impressive for a country
Right.
in itself as a whole. So very,
Mm-hmm.
very impressive statistic, and definitely thank you for pulling that out. I see
Mm-hmm.
we have Arkansas in the building with us this morning. Welcome to all the good folks in Arkansas for tuning in. Do we have anybody else with us? Do we have any questions? While we're getting queued up for a question, that was one thing I definitely wanted to touch on. This is just another, important piece of this conversation. When we talk about businesses and we talk about startups, we also want to talk about unicorns. Unicorns are typically those businesses that have a valuation of over $1 billion. And so I want to put this out there because this was in an article by Nano Global. So 99.9% of unicorns fail. Companies earn unicorn status, as I said, once they hit over $1 billion valuation without being listed on the stock market. And so I found that very interesting that really only 0.00006% of unicorn companies make it. And some examples of those rare unicorns are SpaceX, Canva, OpenSea, etc. And so it's very interesting when I saw that information. And again, that came from an article in Nano Global, where you're talking about very wealthy companies, billion-dollar companies, companies with billion-dollar valuations that also fail. So it's very important to really pay attention to your business, your industry, so that you can understand what makes your business go as well as what makes your business grow.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just tap in with you on that, Brieon, man. Great. I wanted to say tap in a little bit with the GDP composition of, again, we're talking about Saudi in comparison to the U.S. And we look at the resources, the top three resources that Saudi, the industries that Saudi taps in, and most of their country is based on, like, they teach them these things in school and at home. So we look talk about services, and industry, and manufacturing. Also
Mm-hmm.
agriculture. So agriculture GDP in Saudi is at 2.41%. And you got the services, which is 3.2% GDP, and you got the industry, basically 3.33%, and you have manufacturing sitting at 14.68%. So we can see the difference of being more so the high-end resources that Saudi
Mm-hmm.
is finest. Crude
Yeah.
oil, things like that, oil, gas. Everybody knows that Saudi Arabia is known for this, for the industry.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that their whole industry is backed by resources, and I think that there lies a big, heavy difference between international business, and then you have localized business in the U.S., which is not really backed by many resources, other than what we know of that the U.S. already has. Like usually gold, or they have oil as well, but just not as much. It's not as plentiful as it would be in Saudi Arabia. And that's a whole different conversation to go and talk about that. But just want to tap into that the GDP composition, to give us some little bit of information for the viewers to be able to tap in and see what is. And I like to ask a question to the viewers to kind of think of. It's kind of like a rhetorical question for yourself. Is asking yourself, how can I mimic that? How can I? And that's why it's very important to live abroad or expand your mind to make it obtuse to understanding business in other
Mm-hmm.
countries as well, because it can help merge into understanding how to run your business in the U.S. I just want to tap on that a little bit, Brieon.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think exposure outside of your home country, wherever that may be, definitely adds perspective, definitely broadens your horizon. And quite naturally, Saudi Arabia is one of the countries that, very wealthy due to its oil and gas reserves, due to its natural resources and minerals that the country itself has a very good control on, which allows them to be in a primary or premier position compared to other countries. So it's great to see what they're doing, and it's great to see how they're one of the top 20 economies in the world, and how they're steadily growing. Saudi Arabia is currently moving up the ranks and becoming more known on the world stage. They're opening up tourism. They're having a lot of mega projects going on around the country, and just doing a lot of things to further enhance the quality of life and the people there. Guess what? They're doing all of this without alcohol. They do not have alcohol in the country, at all. So it just goes to show how different countries and different economies can do different things and excel at that. And I love the diversity. I love the way that they stick to what they're good at. They don't try to, go outside of that. They stick to the things that they're good at. And so, we're very happy for them, and we're happy to be able to experience the growth that's going on there in Saudi Arabia. So, I guess we don't have any questions. I don't see any questions queued up. I was really hoping to see um, that we had a lot of folks out there. But what I will say is, I see we have um, tuning in from Arkansas. Um, Miss Alice tuning in with us from Arkansas, and so we definitely have something in store
Okay,
for you, Miss
Alice.
Alice, for sharing with us and engaging with us in the comment section. So our team will be reaching out to you. We wanted to make sure that we, at least got some engagement, and so you were one of those who were brave enough to engage with us, and we appreciate that. And so we definitely have something in store for you this morning. So, Corey, this about wraps it up. We wanted to keep it short and
Yeah,
sweet. My brother, it's good to see you.
good to
Like
see
I
you
say,
too,
you're
brother.
looking well. You're looking blessed and highly favored. And
Man, thank you,
I'm,
brother.
I'm glad
You
you're
as
here
well.
with us, man. I want you to keep coming back to lock in and tune in with us.
Of
Definitely
course.
love you bringing your perspective. Definitely love you bringing your energy and your insight. And so I just want to give you the opportunity to share any closing words before we get out of here.
Oh man, thank you for the opportunity once again. I love it here. This is home. By the time you've been over here more than one time, Brieon makes it well much your home as well as his home, and and just want to tap in just to kind of send my flowers to my brother Brieon, and I thank you for everything you do, and congratulations to all your success has happened, that is happening, and that is coming your way, brother. I'm sure it's coming, and you're very highly favored, as we like to say, and we're going to keep going forward with this. But I just want to say to everybody that's viewing, I want to give a few words of affirmation and words of encouragement. I want everybody to take actual look inside themselves, and step away from the limelight for a second, and step into that. Look into those dark. We want to shed light into the dark spaces in our life. A lot of those dark spaces, I have to say, are what we forget about sometimes. And sometimes there's a lot of flowers and a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom that comes from those dark spaces. Let's fill those dark spaces with light, and let's fulfill ourselves to make ourselves fully balanced. I think a lot of people these days, including myself, not to be shortchanging anybody because I'm not perfect. We tend to forget to shine light in the dark spaces. That means the mistakes. We can forget about it. We can move on. We can resolve those issues. Let's continue to perspire. Let's continue to inspire. Let's not forget about our service, that we're supposed to be of service. We have a
Yeah.
service nature. And just wanted to shed light on that, and want to give people encouragement to go out there. And I know it's easier said than done, cliche, we'll say, but we have to have those people that are going to, turn the tides of generational curses and things like this, and move on. And it's going to require us to get rid of some things, whether it be people, places, dates. You know, we're gonna have to look at those things and really decide what's really important for us. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna say one last thing really quickly. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, I was able to share a moment with my brother Brieon, as well as my brother Favor. And behind the scenes, man, it has been incredible to understand the posture. That's what I learned the most about the posture that Brieon has brung and Favor have brought to me, to understand it. You can enjoy yourself, and we can still do business, and we can still succeed, and we can still inspire, and we still can go out here and we can have fun. But you got to decide what's more important for you, and you got to make those necessary sacrifices that are going to help you propel you to get to the next day. Because that one mistake that you have made, or one decision that you made, it don't have to be detrimental, but it can derail you from the alignment and the purpose and direction that you're planning to go. So I just wanted to send that to y'all. Hats off to everybody in the world today, and keep being inspired and be inspired as well. Never be too great to think that you're so great that you know everything. So that's all I wanted to share with everybody. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for giving me the time today, and I really appreciate that.
Oh man, appreciate it, Corey. I mean, beautiful, beautiful. And those closing words, we're gonna go out on that. I don't need to add nothing to it. I don't need to take nothing away. And so appreciate you all tuning in. Tax Talk Live, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Get
Be
in
back
there.
here again next Saturday, same time, same place. And also, if you have not tapped in the Tax Talk Premium, make sure you don't meet us there. You beat us there. Go ahead, sign up for Tax
Exactly.
Talk Premium. I can promise you, you'll thank yourself over and over again for all of the value that you're going to receive, much more than the price that you paid. So thank you all. See you all. Enjoy the rest of your Saturdays and be blessed. And we'll see you next Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We're gonna be here.